What's going on, people? So this is going to be a quick video just on some Olympic lifting technique stuff. So it's just on some ideas of what my coach has kind of helped me out with, and some stuff that I think will hopefully help some of you guys out as well. So what I'm going to go over is what the kind of ideal bar path is. So kind of ignore my lifting face. Oh god, that's ugly, isn't it? So what we're going to talk about is where the bar is actually supposed to go. So in terms of bar path, obviously the perfect bar path would be straight up and down in the air. But what we need to visit is the idea that for some people, because of your limbs, because of the way you move, because of the way you think about lifting, it's not necessarily going to be the most powerful or efficient or optimal form for you to use, for you to lift with the bar going in a perfectly straight line. You may have to move your body in some weird angles. Your mobility may not allow for it. If you've got quite long limbs, quite long femurs, maybe having the bar stay perfectly over the ball of your foot isn't going to work because you're going to have to push your knees too far back or something like that. So what we're going to visit is the idea that you do have basically room for error. So I'm going to draw this line. If I can actually get it to work, I'm going to draw this line basically straight down the middle of my foot, just about here. So say that's kind of the midline. So that's the kind of line we ideally want the bars to travel across. I know it's not perfectly straight, but bear with me. What we're going to look at now is this. So look, this is from a workout I did on no foot power snatches, because one of the things that no foot power snatches emphasises is the idea that you have to have the bar over your base of support. That's something important to remember. As long as the bar, the weight, your two centres of gravity, the barbell and your hips, stay over the base of support, you don't need to worry so much about having a perfectly straight bar path. I'm not saying don't strive for it, but don't lose your mind if you don't have a perfectly straight bar path. So if you look at mine here, this is probably the best heavy set I did. The bar comes up, it stays in a fairly straight line, it sweeps back, so now it's probably more over like the back third of my foot. Now it gets hit, and now it's over the front third of my foot. So it's probably over like the ball of my foot, maybe like the first knuckle of my big toe. And then it sweeps slightly back again, and now it's back over the middle of my foot. Now, I'm not saying that this is the optimal bar path. I definitely have some things to work on, but in terms of what sets went best, it was the ones where the bar path was like this. I use a lot of bar body contact. I use a lot of sort of like pulling the bar into my hips, and I use a lot of sort of force by driving my hips through and leaning back on the bar. So what's going to happen with that is, because of the amount of power put into the bar, there's going to be a bit more torque, so the bar's going to whip around a little bit more. But as long as I keep that bar going relatively straight, and I don't let it go past my toes, it means that I can keep the bar tight and the bar path is straight enough for me to be able to get some heavy lifts. Now, you're going to have freaks who don't do this. John North being one. He really torques the bar and throws his hips forwards, and the bar whips a little bit more. Dmitry Klokov, he really pushes his hips forwards into the bar, and the bar does whip round a little bit more. But again, because the bar stays over his base of support, he fucking pause snatches 200 kilos. One person who probably is all the way to the other side of the spectrum is someone called Norik Vardanian. His bar path is as straight as that line I've just drawn on that screen, because he brushes the bar, and he's got excellent shoulder mobility and excellent awareness of where the bar is, and his bar path is almost perfectly straight like that line is there. So basically, yeah, stop worrying so much about whether your bar path is perfectly straight or not, and just make sure it's within a tolerance. So if I draw two lines, there's that one there, and let's say this one, for sake of argument, that's where my heels are. I know I've probably missed it by an absolute mile. Yeah, I have. But imagine that you've got one line that's your toes, one line that's your heels. The back and front of your base of support. As long as the bar stays within that tube, you should lift quite smoothly, and you should be able to progress in your weightlifting by just getting stronger, getting more powerful, and then practicing your lifts.